This is the Carbinox Edge, and I'm going to show it to you next. And then, of course, we're going to take it out of this block of ice and see if it still works. This right here is the Carbinox Edge, which is a smartwatch for whatever you need. And the best part about this Edge is they say it's almost indestructible, which is probably why they gave me two to review, because I got to destroy one. And we're going to unbox it, and then I guess we're going to destroy a watch. We're going to do that next on Geekazine. What's up, my geeks? Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, Think Magazine, Put in a Geek. Now, Carbinox did send me product to review, and they are sponsoring this video. They have the right to review it before it gets published, but all opinions are that of Geekazine. I have a full page that talks about all my review policies down at geekazine.com/review. You can check that out. If you've got a product that you want me to take a look at, all you have to do is contact me there. I'd like to thank all my Patreons that also support me. As little as $1 a day, you can go over to patreon.com/geekazine. And then, of course, a one-time tip over at venmo.com/geekazine. This is the Carbinox Edge watch. This is the Edge Max. There's a couple different watches, and you got to make sure, especially when it comes to the app, that you have the right watch and app combination there. But this is the Carbinox Edge. What this is a smartwatch and 1.96 AMOLED stainless steel watch with IP69K and 5 ATMs fitness trackers, dual band GNSS, 500 milliamp battery that's supposed to go for about 23 days, depending on what you have on here, how you're using it. And it's also got Bluetooth call smartwatch and can be used with your Android. It can be used with your iOS device and a lot more. We've got it. I've already got the app loaded up on the phone, and we're going to take a look at how that connects after the unbox, after the first look right there. So like I said, it's stainless steel. There is Gorilla Glass on it, so you could run it over with a vehicle. You could hit a hammer on it and all that other stuff. Many people have tried to destroy it that way. We've got to find a more creative way to do that, but we'll figure that out later. But the whole point is that whatever you're doing, if you're at home just relaxing, or if you're on a construction site, or if you're in areas where your watch really gets damaged, this watch can take a lot. With the 500 milliamp battery, it's got up to 25 days for the charge. And the other cool thing about this that's really exciting is that dual band GPS. Now, what that means is it's got 6 systems for phone-free tracking, which means that if, let's say you're on a construction site and something happens and maybe an entrance gets caved in or anything like that, you're in a situation where you cannot get out. That rescue has to find you to get you out. Now, with this, with the 25-day battery, and with the 6 systems for phone-free tracking, they can figure out where you are and then how to get you out from there. So it might take a couple hours or a little bit longer, but at least they have the watch telling them where you're approximately at, so they can work to getting that out. And for most of us, that's never going to happen. But, if we have earthquakes and hurricanes, things like that, at least people can find you via the watch, which is very, very exciting, because then first responders can get you as fast as possible. All right, enough about that. Let's go ahead and get this watch unboxed and, of course, destroy it, I guess. So now, first of all, we have 2 watches here. One's in black and one's in silver. And I'm not exactly sure which one to open. Probably the black. And then we'll open the silver, and that's the one we're probably going to destroy. Let's open this up. Scan the watch. There's QR codes right on the side that tell you to get which watch app to get. Keep in mind, Carbinox has a few different apps on at least the iOS store. I haven't checked the Android store yet. You want to get the Carbinox Max app from the store. So check that out. And we're just going to open this up. A little bit of pressure here. There we go. Look at that. Let's go in the overhead here. That is the watch right there. So we're going to pull it out of the container. As you can see, it's free of its band, but of course you can get many different bands, or just get the single band. There's probably one in here somewhere. We got the manual right here, which we'll take a look at a little bit later. There's the band. This one's in black. And like I said, there's many different colors you can get. You can check out on the websites how to do that. The band, as you can see, it's an easy tab on. You just have to pull this tab over to get it onto the watch. We'll do that in a minute. We have a cable and a charger, and the charger is proprietary. Just pop it out that way. There we go. The charger is proprietary, and it is actually rather big as I'm looking at it. We've got 2 tines here, and of course that's going to match on the watch to do the charging, and this is going to most likely be magnetic right here. USB-C right here, so you can plug it into any type of system, but you might want to get an extra charger base, especially if you do a lot of traveling. Then you'll have this close by. We got the USB-C to A cable, so we can plug that in. We do not get any plug, so you look for a plug that has at least 2 amps or more, because that will help with a faster charge. I'm just going to plug it into my Anchor here, which is the 240 watt charger. And we'll take the cord, and then we will plug it in the side here. There's no other buttons or plugs or anything like this. We do have a flat area. I don't think this is magnetic, as some of these watches actually have a magnetic bottom, so you can kind of clip it somewhere. But of course, this cord is also pulling this in a direction. So let me just do that. Bring it down, and then of course we can bring the watch on, which of course I don't have. I still have the wrap on it, so we'll check that out right now, and we'll go ahead and unwrap this. All right, pull that out. Simple as that. All right, there's the watch face right there. Let's take a quick look. Simple, like I said, Gorilla Glass. So let's just take a knife, and well, actually we'll take the screwdriver. That's a lot easier. And I go like this. You see any scratches, anything like that? It's actually pretty smooth. It's working pretty well on that. I don't feel any scratches. It doesn't look like there's any scratches. So as you can see, the face can handle a lot, and we'll put it through the tests, of course. So it's a square watch, and it's a little bit, I think it's 44 millimeter. It looks more rectangular than it does square. So it'll fit on my wrist fine, but if you're looking for a slightly smaller watch, they might have those, but not in this case. This is meant to be rugged. Now, I'm looking at this, and there's like a thing here and a thing here, which makes me wonder if there's a way to strap this on in other ways through these little handles. But we do have a series of buttons. We got a button up here, which is probably the main power button, but we'll find out in a second. We got a button down here. We got a button over here and a button over here. So 4 different buttons to do whatever. And of course, these little handle things, strap handle things, I guess I'm going to call them right now, they're actually out a little bit, so they kind of protect the buttons. Now let's look at the back here, because of course we have the sensor. It's the altimeter, the barometer, the compass, the heart rate, the SpO2, sleep and stress. It's all going to come through here. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward on that. We just basically lays on the wrist like so it can track your vitals. Let's see if we can power this on. I'm assuming this is the power button, so I'm going to hold this down for a second. I felt a vibration. There we go. Carbinox right there. And that is going to come in about 15 seconds. It's asking us what language we want to go in. So we're going to do English. Now we can scan our QR code with the app. So that's where we bring the app out, and there's the app right there. We can go to My Device, and then we can hit the plus button to find it. It's already finding it. It's got the MAC address in there and everything, so the Bluetooth is working perfect. So we're just going to hit that button, and it will pair it. It's asking me, should I pair this? We're going to hit the checkbox, say yes. And then it says activate now. Please ensure that the Bluetooth is on your phone. We want to pair on both. So we're going to hit the check and the check, and we're activating. It's asking if you want to use the iPhone notifications through your watch. So we're going to say yes. And there it is. And of course, if you have Android, it'll probably ask you a different question there. But now we have the app and we have the watch, and it's a very planned out watch face, I guess we could say. We can change the watch faces. Let's take a look at some of the stuff here up on top. There's our watch with the watch face. It says it's connected. It says there's 96% battery. I won't have to charge this for another 25 days, which I really like. It does have a GPS satellite data option on here, and that is what is going to track you. Now, keep in mind, it is gonna track you. So if you're concerned about that, then you might want to read up on Carbinox's terms of service on how they track you, but at least the GPS is following you from wherever you are. So we basically checked that, and it just reset it, and now it says that it's valid. We've got a display settings down here. We can do a screen wake. So basically a bunch of settings that what it'll do is it will help with that 25-day battery. The more that you have on it, the more that you use it, of course, that battery will start to deplete a little bit faster. So keep that in mind. So we've got the notifications and the reminders. We got the health settings right here. We can set up the events. We got the watch settings. There's a firmware update that we're going to do, and then of course a factory reset if you go and sell your watch. But anyway, that's the app right here, and let's go ahead and put it on the charger just to show you that part. So once again, it's got those little tines on the top. We got to match the tines with the tines, and there we go. We're plugged in. Let's go ahead and put the band on and then show you what it looks like here. So once again, the band, these are awesome bands because they have the little push thing. So, you know, if you've ever had to put on a watch back in the day without those, that was sometimes a real chore. So let's go ahead, and I got to figure out how this is going to work, how I normally put it on. So I put it on like that. And then that will be on the bottom. So I'll bring that in right through there. There we go. And then I'll cozy it up to the other side, and then we'll push it in. That's a little tight fit. Like it just misses. There we go. All right, there we go. Now it's in there. And of course, my bad eyesight doesn't really help on this whole thing either. So let's go ahead and put the other one in. There we go. We pull this in and click. There we go. So now we have the watch in there. I wear my watches on my right wrist. I'm not left-handed. I'm also a drummer, which I like to have my watch on the right wrist rather than the left. So, and I think I have this set up. I might have these bands backwards for me because this is taking a little bit more than what I'm used to. Yeah, there we go. And there we are. We've got the watch face set up, which is tough because I need to turn a little bit so you can see it. But basically, there we go. As you can see, I just tapped on the screen and that brought up the face. Our buttons, let's see, our main button will get us to our workouts. I'll take this off so you can see this. The first button got us to like the workouts, the heart rate, and everything like that. We can check out our stress, our mood. We can do our measurements, activity, sleep, all that stuff. There's the calls. We can find out the weather, the notifications, the alarms. See, yeah, it's got my my local weather, which basically is in Celsius. So it's saying that it's 15 degrees out, which is about 60, 62, somewhere around there for the weather. So that's great. And we just basically swipe to come back here. We got music, we got alarms. I don't see the storage inside here. It's got to have enough for music. So about 32 or 64 gigs maybe inside here. We will check. This is 1,000 nits. So if you're indoor or outdoor, you'll be able to see this one. The other thing is it's a resolution of 410 by 502 with 331 ppi. So you'll be, once again, you'll be able to see this watch in daytime, nighttime. You can also set it for automatically switching when you go outdoor versus indoor, or you can set it yourself to how that works. You can also set it in theater mode. So when you're watching a movie, you turn your wrist, it doesn't flip on, or sleep mode or anything like that. So you have all those options right there. So basically that is the watch. And this is the black, that's the silver right there. So now I guess the task is to have some fun with trying to destroy it and seeing how this thing will smash up or anything like that. I don't know, like that. Oh. All right, so here it is. There we go. That is right there. The watch it's frozen. It's frozen in time, I guess. So I asked people in a TikTok reel message, whatever, what would be the best way to show the extremeness of this device. One person even said, hey, you maybe weld it, but I don't have a welder. So I thought, you know, the whole idea is, let's say you're on a construction site and the building goes down. This is the way that responders will find you. So this became twofold. First of all, I figured if I froze it in ice, it can show the extreme of the ice, as you can see right there. That's part of the watch right there. But the bigger thing is it gets put into a freezer and it's encased in ice, which means that the phone is going to have a harder time finding it, or GPS is going to have a harder time finding it. So that's what I did. So basically the watch, what happened was this watch was at about 32%. So it had like at least a week before I had to charge it up. So that was the first part. The second part is, yeah, when I put it in the freezer, I wanted to make sure once this is all frozen that my phone could still see it. And the third thing is I put it in a lot longer than I was going to. And I'll explain that. So these devices have like certain time limits. Like for instance, if you threw it in water, it's got 12, it says it has 12 hours before it might stop working. And that was the same case in the freezers. I put it in about 10 p.m. last night, and then I got up at about 8 a.m. this morning and I checked it, and it responded. Not only did it connect up with the freezer door closed, but also when I did the Find My option, it lit up. So it was working from the phone. Now, it's now been about 12 hours after that. So here we are right here. I cannot get this to connect up to the Edge, even though it's like right next to it. Another technicality, I did connect up another watch to my phone while I was waiting today because I needed to watch. So it might have bumped this watch, possibly, I don't know. But right now we're not getting any connection. Now, like I said, this is 24 hours on here. And of course we have this in a nice little plasticware connection here. Let's do this. Let's take this out of the ice block and see from there. So you can see it. Let's just bring it out and you can kind of see everything here. We'll do the overhead. It's starting to melt. So I'm trying not to get my table wet here, but as you can see, there is right there. That's the full block of ice and watch. So I'm going to chip it out of this and we'll see if we can get this thing to come back to life. I'll make the initial chips. And as you can see, ice is starting to fly around everywhere as I do this. So I'm trying to be gentle because I'm around electronics, you know. This might take a minute, and I got a Another Tupperware to bring the chips into. There we go. See if we can do this. There we go. Let's get to a button. Nothing. Did we do it? Did we destroy it? There we are. I think, yeah, I'm pressing these buttons down and nothing's happening out of the watch. So we've definitely stopped it from working. At least right now. Oh, wait, look at that. It just turned on. How crazy is that? And do we have the right time? Yes, we do have the right time. So it did keep the time. And now it's finding the edge on the phone, of course. And it's connecting it up and syncing it up. That is crazy. Look at that. And the band still has to be taken out of the ice, but I'm going to let this melt at this point because now we've got the watch, which stopped responding again. Interesting. Yep, there it goes. All right. So now the phone says that it's connected. Let's go over here. Phone says it's connected. It's got 23% in here and it sees the GPS satellite. But the bottom line is at a certain point after about, let's say 12 hours, this thing stopped responding altogether in the ice. So now that we took it out of the ice, almost instantly was it able to turn back on and get going. So there it is right there. Let's show you the overhead. That is the watch. Just I just pulled it off the strap, used those, pulled on the little quick release to get that off. So as you can see, the band is still encased in ice, but that'll melt out fairly quick. So there's the watch right there. And you can see a little bit of on the screen, it's steaming up a little bit, but this is actually pretty cool because check this out. I'm still moving the watch around, even because it's still wet right now. Now, think about that. If you've ever taken a watch into the pool, you've probably had this where you try to tap or swipe on your watch and it doesn't do anything. Well, this is doing something. This is basically allowing me to go back and forth. So as you can see, it's working. It's perfect. There's no problems here. I haven't tested the heart rate because once again, the band's still in the ice and I haven't been able to chip that out yet. I'll just let that naturally melt off here. But that's pretty cool that you can get a device that's sitting and in all reality, sitting past the time that it recommends that you don't have it. Like if you submerge it in water, you got to pull it out within 12 hours. We went a full 24 hours with this. And yes, after about 13, 14 hours, it got so cold that it stopped responding with my phone. But if, let's say it was the middle of the winter and I fell through some ice, then somebody could find my watch to find me. I'm very impressed with the Extreme. You know, I've seen people run it over with a car, hit it with a hammer. I mean, I could do that right now. And it's doing just fine. You know, you get to see it now. It's still there. Let's get back to the front face. We'll even use the chisel here. Look at that. I do not feel anything. I do not see anything for scratches or anything like that. All the buttons still work. That's pretty cool. So it is a durable watch. There is no doubt in my mind that this is the thing to wear if you're doing anything extreme. There are a couple problems with it though, although these can be problems that can be solved with firmware updates. Like for instance, when I went to Vegas last week, I took this with me to NAB, National Associations of Broadcasters. And while I was doing my videos, which you can see over on Geekazine.com and YouTube.com/Geekazine, I wore this the whole time. The big problem was when I landed in Las Vegas, 2-hour time difference, my phone updated. The watch did not until I actually opened up the Carbinox app. Now, I have a couple other Android watches that also take a little bit of time before they switch over time zone wise, but this one I actually had to go into the app to do. So once again, that's usually a firmware update. The other problem that I have with this is the notifications. I am not a big fan of getting anything more than text notifications through my watch. Very little on email, especially no Facebook. And I definitely don't want my watch to tell me when to stand up or if I hit a goal or anything like that. This does not know the difference between a text message and one of those things. And I got some really weird messages. You know, I got the, hey, it's time to stand up message. And I got the, hey, you're right on goal message. I just don't want those. And I've been turning off all the notifications. I turned off all the notifications and I didn't get it. But then I didn't get my text messages. Once again, a firmware update can fix all of that down the road. So I'm not too worried about that. And I'm hoping that they'll definitely do that. A lot of pros on this thing. I like how I can put the band on. The band's also supposed to be somewhat indestructible. I like the fact that this was submerged in ice for 24 hours and it came out without any problem, telling me the time, telling me the date exactly. Once again, I don't know the heart rate until I can get this band off out of the ice, but I'm pretty sure that all the sensors are still going to work exactly the same way as the watch does. It's interesting to see these little side items here. I'm assuming that there's supposed to be some sort of way to maybe hook up a lanyard to it so I could actually use this as a pocket watch more than a actual wristwatch, which in some cases some people really need. They need a watch on them, but they can't have it on their wrist, being used to strap on something so you can have it on your person and still be able to check out the time, and then of course do what you need to do for your daytime job or whatever. So with all that said, I'm very, very impressed in how this watch works. If you're on Android, of course, there are different problems, but I bet you'd have a better connection between the watch and the phone. But for the most part, I am really impressed with the Carbinox watch, and I will be doing some more extreme. And yes, the person that did say try to weld it, I will try that down the road once I get in front of something that can do that. And if you have any ideas of how I can extreme this watch to try and break it, let me know in the comments below over at Geekazine.com, YouTube.com/Geekazine. What'd you think? Do you have one of these watches? Let me know. As I just got a text. Yep, there we go. Until next time, you guys geek out and tell the time with Carbinox.